Hello everyone, I'm Eternal Flame here, and I'm just here for a little bit of a JJK discussion, because I want to talk about a few things. For example, what the potential of Gojo's maximum is going to do, or like Gojo's new secret technique and what that's going to do, as well as everyone's like mood in the fight, and if they want it to end or not, and that entire good jazz. But before we even get into that, be sure to like and subscribe like anime content like this. We have plenty more on the way, and we're on the road to 4K. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. The first thing I really want to talk about was the unlimited hollow technique that Gojo's been hyping up as being a secret plan, what I think it's going to do, what its ultimate end goal effects are, and if this is the peak of Gojo's abilities, because these are like a few important things that I need to discuss. And then later on in this video, we're going to talk about everyone's moods with this fight and the general fandom like response to it, or at least you guys' response to it, because I asked it on a poll a while back if you guys are feeling tired of this fight or not. But first, let's talk about Gojo's unlimited hollow technique. So I truly believe Gojo's unlimited hollow technique is going to be the last final like W Gojo is going to get, because it's being hyped up as Gojo's actual secret plan, his finisher, his ultimate move. But I also think this is going to be a massive W that Gojo is going to get, because I don't think it's coming next chapter. I think it's going to come next chapter, and I think it's going to wipe out Mahoraga and do massive amounts of damage to Sukuna. I have said it before and I will say it again. Gojo is going to save Megumi. He will not win against Sukuna, but he will save Megumi. Purely because if Gojo doesn't achieve something in this fight, he is going to be just a useless character, and his win is going to come back for nothing, and him coming out of the box is going to be really meaningless. But we also can't have Gojo win, purely because if Gojo wins against Sukuna, there is no beating him, and it also just like destroys Yuji's entire story if Gojo wins against Sukuna, because yeah, Yuji has been set up for a while to fight Sukuna and be the one to kill Sukuna, and we can't just send Yuji to Kenjaku purely because Yuji doesn't care about Kenjaku. Like, as much as in theory the entire "oh, your parent has been the main villain all along and completely ruined your family" is a really cool thing, there needs to be a lot more buildup, and it pales in comparison to the amount of buildup that has been happening between Yuji and Sukuna actually fighting. But yeah, that's enough talking about Yuji for now. But more importantly, yeah, Gojo is going to at least get some form of dub, and I think that dub he is going to get is freeing Megumi, or at least he's going to be the one responsible for freeing Megumi by sacrificing himself and doing this ultimate move that's going to result in his own death, which is going to be the unlimited hollow technique that's also going to wipe out Mahoraga for now, for Megumi to totality later, which that's going to be a fun one. After all, I already made a video talking about the potential of what would happen if all Shikigami were totality together and what kind of monster that would be. Hint hint, nudge nudge, slight promotion. Anyways, on to the next question of the video, which is what I think the unlimited hollow technique is going to be, and I'm gonna be completely honest with y'all, I don't think it's Hollow Purple, because if it was Hollow Purple, Gojo wouldn't treat it as this amazing secret plan, or at least it's not a normal Hollow Purple. It might be his maximum Hollow Purple variant, it could be that, I'm not sure yet, but I'm leaning closer to it being a maximum output Hollow Purple, or just a maximum technique that in general, that's just better than Hollow Purple. We really do not know yet. Like, it might be Lime Green. I'm leaning closer to being like maximum Gold, because yeah, I like Gold more than Lime Green. Get all y'all Lime Green supporters out of here. It's Team Gold where it's at. But yeah, I think it's going to be this awesome ultimate move that Gojo can only use once, like Binding Vow amped, and that's how he's going to wipe out Mahoraga, because Mahoraga is already massively adapted by this point, and Gojo is going to spend like an entire chapter charging it, and then like that's going to be the opener to the next chapter, which is just going to immediately lead into like Sukuna just defeating Gojo finally, or just Gojo somehow, some way, shape, or form losing, because hey, maybe Kenjaku might arrive. We really do not know. I do just want to say, I think the reason that he won't be able to use the technique again is because it will drain all his cursed energy and stamina, not because it's going to be a one-time use technique like Kashimo's is. So yeah, the Binding Vow will not be as effective as Kashimo's is going to be. Finally, before we even get into you guys' opinions on the entire fight so far and whether it's going on for too long or not, I do just want to say this, because like I don't think I can fit this in an entire video. Gojo has a chance, there's like a way for Gojo not to die, in my opinion, because here's my thing, right? If Gojo loses his 6 eyes and he loses what makes him so incredibly busted, he doesn't have to die anymore. For the pure reason of, there's an interesting story that could be told about Gojo trying to figure out how powerful he is and who he is as a person without the power that allowed him to rise the strongest. While yes, I do believe it is because Gojo is Gojo and Gojo mastered the 6 eyes and the Limitless, and that is the reason why he is the strongest, and not because he just has those powers, because I don't think there are any 6 eyes Limitless people that are like him which is for a future video that I'm working on about why Gojo is the strongest because he is Gojo, and not the other way around of he has the 6 eyes and Limitless and that's why he's the strongest. I do think that there is a really interesting character arc and character way that Gojo can be taken if his 6 eyes and Limitless are gone, and that is why Gege finds it so hard to write around Gojo, because Gojo is way too strong for the story to continue. So if Gojo loses 6 eyes and Limitless, he will be out the story, but he can still be very helpful and useful in my opinion, because remember, Yuji only has Cursed Energy, Reinforcement, and Gojo would already be ahead of him on that, and he has RCT still at his disposal and all of that, and he should still have his Cursed Energy control, or at least to a degree from the 6 eyes, even though he wouldn't be able to use Limitless anymore. And while Gojo doesn't have the best refinement in the series, he still should get a control amp and a Cursed Energy control amp due to having the 6 eyes. And basically, here's my opinion on this. Even if Gojo were to lose the 6 eyes, he'd still have amazing control of his Cursed Energy, because you don't have a power that affects your mind without your mind itself learning some things from it, even without it being gone. That's kind of just how mind powers should work, in my opinion. So I do think Gojo, even without his 6 eyes and Limitless, does still have a role he could play, especially with everything that he does know. So yeah, Gojo's role wouldn't be completely out in the story if he does lose his 6 eyes and his Limitless. He can still be useful in the end, and he doesn't need to die if he loses them. However, if he dies, it has to be him at full power. It cannot be him in a weakened state that dies. It has to be him at full power. Because there's just way too much potential that a weakened Gojo honestly has for a story, in my opinion. And also, it will be really interesting to see his fans' reaction to Gojo being weakened, and if you really like Gojo for Gojo, or if you only like Gojo for his powers, and just to see how shallow or devoted his fans actually are to who Gojo is as a person. And just like finally, I could imagine an epilogue series about Gojo teaching a new 6 eyes Limitless user and passing it to the new generation. I just basically want to say there's a lot of potential that can be taken for Gojo to have a personality and character without his 6 eyes and Limitless, but there's also the potential that Gojo does need to die, and yeah, like he needs to die for the story to move forward, etc. And just the potential symbolism that comes from Gojo's death, that not one person can do everything alone, but Gojo in dying ended up setting up the steps for the rest of the people that he put his trust into to finish the job and prove Gojo right in his ambitions. There are just so many ways that the story can be taken that are really cool, and I just love Gege as a writer for that. So yeah, I just want to put this out there for all the Gojo copers. All of you get my help and my sympathy for this one time. So yeah, basically after we establish the fact that Gojo either needs to die or he needs to be nerfed in some way, and that his brand new Hollow technique is more than likely going to some way, shape, or form nerf Sukuna, or more than likely free Megumi, because that is what I'm leaning close to, with Mahoraga being killed and now allowing Megumi to have free access to all the Shikigami that Sukuna tamed, plus that good depression amp that he's going to get. I do want to now talk about everyone's mood with the fight, because I put a poll up a while back where I was asking you guys if you guys were getting tired of this fight yet, and I wanted to see what the general opinion was in the comments as well as the poll itself. So we had a total of 1.7k votes, and I really just want to say thank you to everyone who voted on this poll. And it was really interesting to see the votes, or well, not really, it was what I kind of expected, where 73% of you guys said I am loving it and won't be tired of it anytime yet. And then there were some of you who said I'm not tired of it yet, with the least amount of you guys that said I am tired of it. But 8% of 1.7k is still a few hundred people, so that's still really interesting nonetheless to get you guys' opinion on that. But now I'm actually going to get more properly into the comments of it, because there are like 36 comments at the time of recording this. And yeah, I'm going to read a few of them that I think are interesting, that might be worth being brought up, that I think are interesting. And yeah, let's get into that. By the way, if you want to be featured in like the next JJK discussion, because I'm thinking about doing these types of JJK discussions more often, where I feature you guys' comments in videos like this, then be sure to comment whenever I do community posts like this, because I will certainly read every community post comment I can. Or I will try to. There's of course going to be a point where I can't anymore, but I will try my best to read all of them that I can. So we're going to start out with the pinned comment, or not pinned comment, we're going to start out with the most liked comment, which is by someone named Dagdom1, where they say, there are so many other series that could take notes on how detailed and technical this battle is. Truly a top-notch fight when the fans are analyzing each and every facet of the characters involved like a pro sports play-by-play. And I have to agree. Like, I have to genuinely agree. Like, as much as there are some movements, some motions that we all find dumb on both sides of the party from this entire fight. There were things that we would do different if we were Gojo or if we were Sukuna. This fight has just been an amazing spectacle, an amazing time with all of you guys, because all of the communication that is delved up, while some of you people are rude, most of you people are just really great and really creative, and there are just so many things that I couldn't have thought of that you guys have thought of in the past, and just it's really great to see everyone's reactions and everyone's direct thoughts on this. So it's always good to see just that, and like just this entire fight feels like a massive community event. So yeah, I have to completely agree with this comment. Another comment from both someone named Anthony Lee and another person who was native to the channel, y'all know who he is, Hobby Horse. If you've been in the comments, you know who he is, he's really smart. They both basically had the same comment where they said, now that we're out of the domain clashes, we are loving it, which I understand the opinion of. We were in the domain clashes for genuinely so long, it was taking up the fight, and at least for me, the domain clashes were getting a little bit stale because we kept seeing them over and over and over and over and over again, and it took on 8 entire chapters. Like, I get it that there was so many, like, technicalities and things put into it, but it did get a little bit stale to me, and yeah, I also gotta say, the entire funny of Megumi's never gonna reach that level. I doubt it. Anyway, up next, I'm going to go into another opinion that I actually found rather interesting, though it seems to be a common opinion among the several people who have been commenting, which is they've been enjoying the fight, but it feels like that the fight is dragging on way too long to this point, and that they're ready for the fight to stop, and so we can move on with the actual plot and move on with other characters. Which, if I'm being honest with, I kind of do agree, but also kind of don't. I think the fight should be like 1 or 2 more chapters long, because that is where I think the fight should end, because like the fight's been going on for a while, but I think the fight needs to end sooner or later, because at this point it kind of feels like filler. It doesn't fully feel like filler, but it feels a little bit like filler, but at the same time it's not filler, it's just really sick, but at the same time, yeah, it needs to end sooner or later. It's just like there's so many other cool things we really want to get to. For example, Kashimo versus Sukuna, what Kenjaku's been up to, the big 3 fighting against Kenjaku or Sukuna, Yuta versus Sukuna, and most of all, Yuji versus Sukuna. Just all of that really needs to happen as well. And like, yeah, Gojo versus Sukuna has been the main forefront. Like, it's introduced so many new concepts, it's been really cool. Not blaming it for that, but I can also see why a lot of people are saying that this fight has been going on for way too long up to this point, or at least that's my reason for why I think the fight's been going on for way too long. I know there are other people who see it completely differently than I do. There are people who just don't want Yuji to fight Sukuna at all and want to go for Kenjaku. And, like, I don't see why, if I'm being completely honest with you, but at the same time, I also can, like, if that's your view, I understand, I guess, but still. Now, the next comment I want to talk about is one I've been wanting to talk about for a little bit, and I'm thankful that you guys brought it up, which is a guy named Damanai William, and I completely agree with him. Like, I agree with him really heavily, and this is, like, a lot of other comments that I saw, too, which is the Fraud Kuna memes were funny at first, but it's been several weeks of non-stop Fraud Kuna memes, and it's getting old. And this is just a general thing for Jujutsu Kaisen and this entire fight. As entertaining as the agendas are, please calm down a bit with the agendas. You guys are going way too far, and I have seen it in the comments. It is getting way too annoying. Like, I get it, but at the same time, just calm down, please. We don't need to go too far. We are normal people. We are civilized. We are a normal civilization. Just, the joke is no longer funny, and to the people who genuinely are taking this seriously and are calling people dumb because they don't understand their way, please stop. Like, actually. And this goes for both sides, by the way. Both Sukuna and Gojo's side. Actually stop and, like, please, just don't go so far. Like, if you guys want to make your memes, go ahead, just don't go too far with the memes or else they're going to get annoying, and they just keep getting more and more annoying. Like, seriously, like, the spamming of just a bunch of memes, just, that gets old eventually, and it gets old really fast. Anyways, that's sort of just everything I want to talk about with this entire discussion video. Hope you all enjoyed. I'm gonna see y'all later. Peace out.